Hey, we are starting again with another dose of magical times. We are going back into Israel versus Hamas, or Hamai, as Junior called it. So, we've done our openings, and now we're going into the first rebuttal. So, I'm interested in hearing what your thoughts are. Are you persuaded by this rebuttal or not? Let's find out.
Rebuttal section and play it for you, and then you can make that face again.
And we're close to the end. You
Okay.
finish that sentence.
There's much more to say about the history, but we will get to that in the rebuttal section because it is a disaster from their side.
We're going to jump into the 8-minute rebuttals indeed. Folks, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. We do appreciate your support, and that lets us know that you want more debates on these topics and with these folks. We're going to kick it over to Julian and Jvnior. You've got 8 minutes, so
Thank
about
you.
4 minutes per person.
Julian, if you can let me just take over for a bit, because I just want to read Article 16 from this document that was published by Hamas. You can clearly read here, if you guys can all see it. It says, Hamas affirms that its conflict is with the Zionist project, not with the Jews because of their religion. Hamas does not wage a struggle against the Jews because they are Jewish, but wages a struggle against the Zionists who occupy Palestine. Yet, it is the Zionists who constantly identify Judaism and the Jews with their own colonial
support, and that lets us know that you want more debates on these topics and with these folks. We're going to kick it over to Julian and Jvnior. You've got 8 minutes, so
I just want to read articles. You can clearly read here, if you guys can all see it. It says, Hamas affirms that its conflict is with the Zionist project, not with the Jews because of their religion. Hamas does not wage a struggle against the Jews because they are Jewish, but wages a struggle against the Zionists who occupy Palestine. Yet, it is the Zionists who constantly identify Judaism and the Jews with their own colonial project and illegal entity. Hamas rejects the persecution of any human being or the undermining of his and her right on nationalist, religious, or sectarian grounds. Hamas is of the view that the Jewish problem, anti-Semitism, and the persecution of Jews are fundamentally linked to European history and not to the history of the Arabs and the Muslims or to their heritage. The Zionist movement, which was able, with the help of Western powers, to occupy Palestine, is the most dangerous form of settlement occupation, which has already disappeared from much of the world and must disappear from Palestine. So this is it's called the Document of General Principles and Policies from Hamas. Okay? Then we have this document here that I was able to pull up that says, this was in 1988, okay? Just to prove to you how Hamas is evolving its views and how its views were never how you described it. So in this 1988 charter, this is article, I believe, this is in the introduction. In Article 20, here, if I just pull it up, it's going to say the same thing here, if I just pull it up.
That's interesting that you look at the bottom of the page. It says, Allah has decreed, lo, I very shall conquer, I and my messengers. Lo, Allah is strong, almighty. Surah 58. Wonder why that's being cited there. I don't know. I think this is why I think we need to separate religion from politics. I don't think it's a good thing because you can use religious texts to say whatever you want to say. I'm definitely for secular governance. Probably, I think all of you are too.
It's going to say the same thing I just said, but just in a different language. This is the Islamic spirit which ought to prevail in any Muslim society, a society which confronts a vicious, Nazi-like enemy who does not differentiate between man and woman, elder and young, ought to be the first to adorn itself with this Islamic spirit. Our enemy pursues the style of collective punishment, which I've proved that Israel is collectively punishing and that this is illegal under international law. Israel is collectively punishing Palestinians, right? And destroying properties and pursuing them into exile and places of assembly. It has resorted to breaking bones, opening fire on women and children, the old, with or without reason, and to setting up detention camps where thousands upon thousands are interred in inhuman conditions. In addition, it destroys houses, renders children orphans, and issues oppressive judgments against thousands of young people who spend the best years of their youth in the darkness of prisons. The Nazism of the Jews does not skip women and children. It scares everyone. They make war against people's livelihood.
Wait. Something here that we need to cover. See, it's kind of nice to kind of go again and look at what these arguments are, because it's hard situation. This doesn't say the Nazism of the Zionists does not skip women and children. It says the Nazism of the Jews. Didn't they earlier on say that the Jews this is not about religion, this is a political Zionist thing? This is strange. Is it Jews or is it Zionists? Which argument is being made here? Because they're very different arguments. If you're saying that you're trying to separate religion from politics, and then in your same document, you mention the religious identification of these people, and then you're saying Nazism, and then you're taking the most horrendous thing that's happened to this community, and then saying it's that they're doing this. And also, I find it very ironic that this group, this Hamas group, is telling us that, Israel did all of these evil things, and then they did October 7th, where they just did horrible things to all communities, including Palestinian people too, because there are Palestinian citizens of Israel. So they went and did horrible things to Palestinians as well. So they did horrible things to Palestinians, Thai, Jewish people, pretty much anybody that they could hurt, they did. And they're telling us about Nazism. I'm like, weren't you doing these Nazi activities when you did October 7th? And you filmed it. You can't even claim conspiracy theory because they filmed the activities they did. They were proud of what they did. They showed the horrendous evil things that they did. So I don't know. This is it's a hard sell. It's like the pot is calling the kettle black. You're saying that these people did horrible things and did atrocious things, and you are doing exactly what you're accusing these people of doing. I find that problematic.
Under their monies and threaten their honor. In their horrible actions, they mistreat people like the most horrendous war criminals. Exiling people from their country is another way of killing them. As we face this misconduct, we have no escape.
Oh, let me see about this. Did you not know that each of the other, Robert G. Ingersoll? Well, I think it's kind of complex because first, extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence. So you would have to show every religion does this. Also, it's kind of difficult because there's many different interpretations of religions. I have a big problem of generalization of any group. I think there are different factions of all religions. I think religions are polyolithic. They're not monolithic. So I think that claim kind of requires religions to be monolithic. Maybe certain expressions of religions have done that. I don't think every religion has done that. I think it's much more complex and nuanced. But I get what the point is. I get that most people they're always pointing their finger at other people and they're not pointing their finger at themselves. I think that's a valid argument. Okay. Let's continue.
No escape from establishing social solidarity among the people, from confronting the enemy as one solid body, so that if one organ is hurt, the rest of the body will respond with alertness and fervor. I've said this many times. Hamas is just another resistance group. Yes, they may have stemmed from the Muslim Brotherhood. That's where they got their terrorist label, but they do not act like terrorists. Israel
They don't act like terrorists. What about October 7th? What about when Palestinian people wanted to work with Israel and they executed them from behind? What about Mohammed what is his name? Gotta look at him up. I want to make sure I get it right. Give me 1 second. I want to get this correct because I don't like making mistakes. Mohammed Ishtawi, the senior Hamas commander who was tortured and executed for being gay. What about that? What was that? This is just, they're just wonderful and sweet. They execute and murder their own people. I'm sorry. I think the evidence is insurmountable that this claim is just false. If you want to say that, that the Israeli government has problems and has done bad things, that is a fair claim, and it is something that should be engaged. You can take an Amnesty International approach, an ICC approach, or ICJ approach. You can take these types of arguments. However, if you're just trying to say they're resistance, they're a governmental institution. That's what they ran on, not as a resistance group. They ran as a governmental group. They are Islamic Brotherhood, and they have done horrible things. So it's like, we've got to be accountable with this. So it's like you're saying, hey, I understand that, Hamas it's done some bad things, but you're not giving the same slack to the Israeli government, which I think is shocking. That you're like, well, I'm going to give slack for this, but I'm not going to give the same nuance for the alternative that I'm going against. So I think this is important to look at.
As this fake PR campaign, like 40 beheaded babies, Hamas is raping our women and children, when in reality, every accusation from Israel is actually a confession. Whether they have evidence or not about Hamas doing this doesn't matter, because we have evidence that Israel is doing these things.
So this is a deflection. This is a problematic deflection that he's doing. He's saying, well, okay, it doesn't matter if they did these horrible things. Guess what? Israel's doing these things. That's not a justified position. Even if that's true, then that means they're both wrong. That doesn't mean that that Hamas is now right. And it's not a confession. It is an accusation. And if the situation is that they both did wrong, then they're both wrong. There are accusations that Israel has done these things in prisons, and that's evil and wrong. There has been information, and I think anyone who does this type of thing is evil and wrong, and it needs to be investigated. And the people who do it need to be tried. This is not hard. Calling bad things bad is not a difficult thing. It is the right thing to do. So, if Israel does it, they're wrong. If Hamas does it, it's wrong. This is not rocket science. It's just basic ethics.
Shown you the evidence. Look, you're right, Issa. Hamas was founded in 1987, but Palestinian resistance didn't begin in 1987. My grandparents from Haifa and Nazareth in Palestine were resisting colonial control in 1917. Like their parents were resisting too. My family survived the mass expulsions of 1948. That's the only reason I'm alive. Palestinians resisted again when Israel occupied Gaza in 1967. Hamas didn't create this conflict. The conflict created Hamas. Israel created Hamas. When people are displaced, blockaded, denied rights for decades, resistance movements form. And there's hundreds.
So, since I can respond to this now, I do think it's fair that under difficult conditions, difficult things will come out. You will have things that come out. That's fair, but then you need to also have accountability too. If you want to say that Israel did these things and Israel is a part of this situation, so are these other groups. Like you have the 5 Arab nations that invaded Israel. You have to take accountability for that. Sure. I always want to make sure I say the correct things. I don't like saying mistruths. I'll make sure if I right. Yeah. The 5 Arab nations, Egypt, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, and Transjordan, they all invaded Israel at that time in 1948. Why did they have the right to do that? They did it. There are sovereign nations. They don't have a right to invade another sovereign nation. So what is the accountability for that? You just get to say you get to do that? You just have the right to invade? No, you don't. And in fact, it actually solidified the Israeli identity. So this is a problem that he doesn't want to recognize. He just said, like, look, we did this. What about the 1929 Hebron massacre? Are we going to hold accountability for that? We have to. We can't just say, look at the atrocities I'm facing and not talk about the atrocities that have come from my side. This is where there's a disconnect. Victims can be perpetrators. This is an important point to think about. So if you want to hold Israel accountable, I'm like, fine. I think we should hold the United States accountable. We should hold every space and country accountable. That's important. But we also need to look at the alternative as well. So let's get
of resistance groups in Palestine. There's 30 officially recognized ones, and Hamas is one of them. So you're going to say that Hamas is worse than Israel? Impossible. Because Israel is the one who created this conflict. Yes, the PLO is secular and internationally recognized. Palestinians tried that path for decades, bro.
And guess what? The PLO works in West Bank. West Bank is still here. West Bank is still going on. I've been to Ramallah. I've been to Beit Jala. It's doing pretty well. I'm not saying the PLO is perfect or the PA is perfect. But guess what? Ramallah is looking pretty good. Beit Jala is looking good. You know what I mean? It's looking better than some other places. It looks better than India, than certain parts of India, man. Man, I'd rather vacation in Ramallah before vacationing in Pakistan. I'd rather go to Ramallah than go to Pakistan. I'm just telling you, man. Yeah, I'll go vacation in Beit Jala before I go to Pakistan. So the West Bank is doing pretty well, you know. I actually love it. I actually love the West Bank. I think it's just really beautiful, and I like the people there. And yeah, I can glaze the West Bank. I had a very good time there. But they have like beautiful stores. The people are very, very kind and nice, and I felt like I fit in pretty well there. But I'm like, he's like, we tried it. It's still working. I'm not saying it's perfect, but gee, I'm gonna go. I mean, Ramallah's happening, man. You know. And Bethlehem is beautiful. You all have to go to Bethlehem. They have this big Christmas tree there. It's so amazing. I love Bethlehem. So Bethlehem is great. Hebron is great, and seeing all the little souks. And, you know, my Arabic is terrible, but like I was able to read all the signs, you know, my Arabic, I can read Arabic better than I can read Hebrew, but yeah. Yeah, I love the West Bank. I would go back again and again. I mean, I think the big problem is the checkpoints, but I understand the security situation. I just hope there can be ease between the Palestine and Israel. You know, I'm hoping for ease for both of these places. But yeah, I love Ramallah. I mean, it's beautiful. And Bethlehem, and you know, I felt like I fit there. You know, they do ask for a lot of money all the time, but Philadelphia is like that too. So let's see what people have to say, and we'll go back in. Hamas also filmed Breaking Legs. Yeah, they've done some really horrible things, and he's just not taking accountability. He's just like, let me blame Israel completely, and I don't like that. You can hold Israel accountable, but this is not the way to do it. So. What else? Yeah, they're not resistance groups. Yeah, like you said, your family members were a part of Dutch resistance. They're not resistance group. They're like a mafia. A resistance group has like honor and nobility and stuff like that. Hamas doesn't have any of those things. And they did do sexual assault. They did do these things. Like, and pretending like they didn't, it's dishonest and it's wrong. You know? And if you want to hold Israel accountable, I'm not going to be against that because I believe in being accountable. I believe that we have problems and in order to become better, we have to fix our problems. We have to grow and be better people. So if you want to hold Israel accountable, I'm like, that's fine. That's good. That allows us for growth. We can say, yup, this is where we messed up and this is where we need to get fixed, right? And you need to hold yourself accountable, bro. Yeah, it's great.
negotiated, signed accords, did ceasefires. They recognized Israel's existence. And then what? And then what? What did they receive in return? More settlements, more walls, more checkpoints, more land taken, zero statehood. So when peaceful efforts fail, other movements rise. You can't.
Well, they did declare statehood, and they do have passports that Palestine is recognized by many places. So that's just not true. There is a statehood. Like in the West Bank, they do have Palestinian passports. So that's just not really true. I do think the settlements, it's a problematic space that needs to be worked on. And what about allowing for the Jewish people to become citizens of Palestine? Like that's not something he's bringing up. Do Jewish people have a right to become Palestinians? I think if Palestinians get to be Israelis, why can't Israelis get to be Palestinians? It should go both ways. So the Jewish settlers should be able to become Palestinians as well and have Palestinian rights as well. I don't think it should just be for Muslims and Christians. I think that the Jews have a right to be Palestinians too. So, yeah, I think it should go both ways. So, allow them a path to citizenship of Palestine. I don't know why that's not being brought up.
They reject diplomacy and then complain when people turn to armed resistance. And Hamas is a legitimate governing authority, whether anyone likes it or not. They won the 2006 Palestinian election.
Oh, and then they never ran again, and they held the government. They had the space hostage. Yeah, that for 20 years. For 20 years, they've controlled the place. Yeah, that's really legitimate. That's a legitimate government right there. 100%. Yes. Yeah. Let's continue.
It was monitored by international observers, including Jimmy Carter. When the wrong side won, Gaza was punished with blockade, starvation, policies, and collective punishment. Democracy only counts if the results are respected, right? And Palestinians don't have to vote for the party that Israel prefers. Hamas's ideology is misrepresented on purpose. People wave around English PDFs like APIS. He says, Hamas existed in this English document. Hamas doesn't speak English. Hamas speaks Arabic. And
you don't think that these people know English too? You don't think you have someone who can, you don't think they have translators in English? Do you think that these people Arabs can only speak Arabic? No, I was there. Many Arabs can speak English and write and know English too. You're putting down these people, and a lot of them, like when I was in Jerusalem, many the Palestinian citizens of Israel or the Arabs, they could speak Spanish, they could speak many different languages. You're cutting these people too short, bro. They don't just speak Arabic. They can speak, many of them can speak English too, or they can write in English. They're wearing suits and ties. These are educated people. I forget, there was one of the Hamas folks was being interviewed in English. So yes, they know English too. They know English too. So just saying that they know Arabic is ridiculous, man. You're a Palestinian guy that can speak English. You don't think these other Palestinian people can speak English?
Hamas in Arabic means Islamic resistance movement. In Hebrew, it's completely different. The word in Hebrew was used recently during the October 7 conflict. Like, the Hebrew word looks similar, but it means something else entirely. Arabic Hamas is not the same as Hebrew Hamas. So we already read the charter itself. I proved to you that the struggle of Hamas is not against Jews, which you guys have been constantly trying.
But he just showed that Hamas is against Jews. They just showed that Hamas is against Jews. They said that the Jews are doing a Nazi campaign. That's literally what he just showed us like 2 minutes ago.
To prove during this debate. If occupation disappeared tomorrow, Hamas would be gone, like this. And if Hamas disappeared, the occupation will continue. So don't tell me Palestinians abandoned peace. Peace abandoned Palestine. So when oppressed people resist, it's not terrorism, it's literal survival. When you watch your parents get killed and you go pick up a gun and fight the person who killed them, that's not terrorism, that's survival. That's a survival instinct. To the person in their mind, that's not terrorism. To us, it might look like terrorism because it's unjustified, but to him, it's justified. If Palestine...
I mean, that is horrific. If you lose a family member and this horrible thing occurs, It is horrible. It is terrible, and that's fair. And I can't speak for someone who has undergone that situation. That's a very specific situation. This isn't just everyone. And it also goes the other way. Like people who survived. I went to see what happened after October 7th. Does that not happen if an Israeli wants vengeance against Hamas? Do you not think that goes both ways? It's like you can only really see your perspective. You're not able to see the other perspective. If we take what you say as the standard, then it has to go the other way. Why should Jewish people go and seek vengeance against the 5 Arab nations and go and invade? Should have gone and invaded those 5 Arab nations that came and invaded them? Should they do that? See, you have to be careful with these arguments because they can bite you in the back as well. So it's problematic. Well, let's continue.
Aren't indigenous. Who exactly survived there for thousands of years? You know, the funniest myth in this whole debate is that the idea that the people of ancient Palestine magically disappeared and these modern Palestinians, these Arabs from Jordan and whatever, just teleported in. Only someone desperate to erase Palestinian identity would pretend ancestry gets reset every time a people change faith or language. Italians didn't stop being Roman when they converted to Christianity. Egyptians didn't stop being pharaonic descendants when they speak Arabic. And Palestinians didn't stop being indigenous simply because their ancestors embraced Islam.
Yeah, there would have been Canaanites, you could say that they're from the Canaanite lineage. But the point is, are the Palestinians and the Israelis connected? Are Jews and Arabs connected? And I would argue yes. I think these people are of the same ethnic background and the ethnic lineage. And I think the DNA proves it. I think they are from the same background. And I think a lot of Palestinians look exactly the same as Jewish people. So I'm like, I think that this claim of saying, well, they're indigenous. Okay, well, the Jewish people are also indigenous too. So I'm not sure what the point is on that argument.
Instead of staying pagan or Jewish or Christian forever. Identity evolves on the same land, in the same villages, through the same bloodlines. The only group in this conversation with proven massive recent migration is Zionist settlers who come from New York, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, Germany.
So he's making a critique against the Ashkenazim. This is an Ashkenazi attack. So he's attacking Jews of European who lived in Europe. So that's actually a minority. The Ashkenazim are actually very similar in population to the Arab population. It's actually more comparable. The Ashkenaz, but he's not mentioning Sephardim, Mizrahim, like the Middle Eastern Jewry. There are Jewry that is not that was not from European diaspora. There are Jews who are from Yemen that are from Ethiopia. Like you have to talk about these particular Jews too, which you're not mentioning, which I think is problematic.
France. Palestinians don't have a second passport to name because Palestine is their origin.
False. Many Palestinians have a Jordanian passport too. There are Palestinians who have Jordanian and Palestinian passports. So no, that's not true. And majority of Jordan is Palestinian. So like that's just not a true statement. That's an interesting point. Hamas exploits its own people. There is exploitation.
That's what indigenuity means. The most embarrassing part for Zionists is that their own founders debunked their myth. Israel's first prime minister literally said that Palestinian Arabs are the descendants of this land. Your own prime minister said that. So I don't know what else you guys have to say, but you're cooked.
Juicy, to say the least. We will switch it over. I want to remind you folks, if you haven't yet, please do hit that like button. We appreciate that support. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button as we have many more juicy debates. And we'll kick it over to AP and Issa. The floor is all yours.
So I find one thing very funny, which is Jvnior acknowledges that he was actually lying about the name Hamas, but then he just kind of tries to explain it without actually admitting that he lied, that he made that up, which is very, very interesting.
We're going to do this rebuttal and then we're going to end for today, for this session.
Interesting. You know, we can literally find the document in Arabic and can read it also, and we can see that they called it Hamas there as well. He repeatedly represents or misrepresents the history of the region He further makes the claim that the Jews came from America and this and this and that. I wonder if he knows that the majority of Jews in Israel today are not Ashkenazi Jews, meaning they are not of Western Northern European origin. The majority of Jews in Israel today are of Mizrahi and Sephardic origin, meaning they have nothing to do with those typical, stereotypical white, Polish, American, German, whatever Jews that you want to make this about. So that is a lie and complete nonsense. And if he knew anything about this, he would already know this. Now he said that because Hamas mentions at some point that their struggle is not with Jews, he says this therefore means that they are not against Jews. He also says that they're just called terrorists, but they are actually not called terrorists. All right, let's listen to Hamas themselves. Let me know if you hear this.
We don't hear anything. When you do hit share, you have to hit like a little button on the. So if you,
it's fine. It's fine. I'll just read it from the screen. It's here anyway. Oh. So this is Fatih Hamad, who is the preferred and picked Arabic-speaking speaker of Hamas, who speaks directly to the Gazan population. So Hamas does this very, very nice trick with stupid Western people, where they publish something in English for the Western people to read, and then they speak to their own people in their own language. So here is them speaking their own language, aside from all the publicity. This is from 2018. Here's Fatih Hamad. He says, all of the Palestinian people are prepared to explode. We built a suicide vest factory with thanks to God. We are ready to breach the fence. Actually, I kind of want to play this sound here just so Jvnior doesn't find another excuse and accuse me of just making this up and that he didn't actually say that. So let me share the sound here as well. All right, let's do this. Okay, I'm sure you can understand the Arabic here. Let's see.
أبناء شعبنا جاهزين للتفجير. عملنا مصنع جديد إن شاء الله تعالى. حالة دخول السلك جاهزين أخواتنا. كله أفن جاهزات كلهن. يحملنا أحزمة متفجرة في سبيل الله. بنفتح ثغرتين في كل مخيم. واصلين نطربق لما نصلكم. ستقتلون. والله ستقتلون. باذن الله سبحانه. عملنا شغلنا مصانع جديده للاحزمه شغاله كل واحد مين بده حنصف على الدور حزام يلا وانت اهل الضفه الغربيه الى متى تسكتون بدنا السكاكين تطلع 5 شيكل رقبه اليهودي حقها قديش.
Oh my gosh, this is the line of the century. I call it the Hamsa Shakel. So what does Hamsa Shakel mean? So a shekel is like, it's a currency. It's like a little bit of money. It's like kind of a money. I can show you what a shekel is because I have it in my wallet. Give me 1 second. I'll grab the shekel and you'll get to see what it is. So here, I'm going to show you shekels right now. We're going to do a little show and tell. Let's see. This is a shekel. Here we go. Can I show myself here? This is a shekel. These are 100 shekels. So this is when I had my time there. So what they're saying is, if I get 7,000 shekels, you say something nice, you get 7,000 of these shekels. And what's cool about the shekel? I want to show you something that's cool about the shekel. No, not that. Here. Can you see what the shekel says? You see that? It's Arabic. The shekel, it's a shekel jadid. That means new shekel. It's a shekel jadid, Bank Israel. Shekel jadid, Bank Israel. And it says, Bank Yisrael in Hebrew here. Bank Yisrael. So it's in Hebrew and it's in Arabic. Hamsa shekel. So he's talking about Hamsa shekel. So this might be like, I don't know, like $60 or something. It's a souvenir that I've kept. But Or no, maybe it's like $30. Sorry, it might be like $30. The Hamsa Shakel is like, it's like maybe $1 or something. It's so it's like far. It's like it's very little money. So he's saying, I'll get these cheap knives to cut Jewish people's throats. That's what he's saying here. Hamsa Shakel.
How much does the throat of a Jew need to cost us? He incites the Palestinians in the West Bank to also join in the terrorism and to buy themselves a knife and cut the throat of a Jew. This is the Hamas that Jvnior here tries to defend as not terrorists. It further continues. However, there is also another video here that I want to briefly bring up in a second here. Just give me one moment. Since we just talked about whether Hamas actually believes in eradicating the Jews or not, and Jvnior was using his usual attitude and just laughing about it. So let's have that right here, right? Let's see what Hamas themselves say about that kind of stuff. Right here.
في هذا اليوم وفي هذه التجليات بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى لنتطلع إلى أمرين مهمين نحن قاب قوسين أو أدنى منهما. أولا هو تنظيف فلسطين من دنس اليهود واستئصالهم بإذن الله، وهو قاب قوسين أو أدنى. 4 سنوات إخواننا، 2022 بنكون خلصنا منهم. أما الأمر الثاني وهو إقامة الخلافة بعد أن تتعافى الأمة من سرطانها وهو اليهود بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى. أنه لا يعني.
There you go. This is the Hamas appointed spokesperson speaking directly to the Arabs in Gaza, telling them, this was in 2018, in 4 years we will be ready, we will cleanse the land of the filth of the Jews, and once we are rid of the Jewish cancer, we will achieve our second goal, which is to re-establish the caliphate. This is one of the main reasons why I want to tell those people who don't care about the conflict, or those people who say, oh yeah, they're probably just resisting and all that. It's not just about Israel and Palestine, okay? This is about everything and everybody. These terrorists are Islamic terrorists. They're not very different from ISIS. Their ultimate goal is, according to their own speakers, according to their own appointed people, to establish the caliphate and restart the Islamic conquests, including slavery, the subjugation of all Jews and Christians, by the way.
I think that Palestinians are victims in this situation. I think the Gazans are victims. I don't think that they want this. I think they're under a dictatorship and they need compassion and mercy. I definitely think it's mixed. I think that the blockade and the checkpoints are problematic, and I understand why they're there, but I think it's more complex and nuanced, and I want peace. I think there needs to be reconciliation for Jews and Arabs and Palestinians and Israelis. I think there needs to be reconciliation. The leadership is very bad, and I don't think it's really I don't think they chose this leadership at all. I kind of stand on that. Do I think some people are supportive? Maybe, but I don't think I think they're under coercion and duress. I don't think that these people have freedom of choice. That's my personal opinion. I believe in the best for Palestinians, but that's where I stand. I don't know. I don't know if the Palestinians really understand Jews. So I spent time with the Palestinian citizens of Israel, and they don't really know much about Judaism. They don't really understand it. So I think it's just that there's this foreign group of people that they don't really understand. And then also you have the Quran, where it talks about people that are doing things that aren't good, and they're called Yahud and Nasara and Mushrikun. And this is a difficult situation because the way I would even view the Quran, it's very, very specific. I don't think what we understand with mainstream Jews and Christians of today are really even being discussed in the text. Jews do not believe Uzair is the son of God. The way that the Quran engages what we understand in Trinitarian Christianity is not really accurate. So it really is kind of talking about I would best surmise it's talking about the people of the area and the people in that particular situation, because I would say Trinitarian Christians would not probably agree that the people who are called Christians in this area would fit the theological standard of Christianity. That would be my opinion. Sort of like how Trinitarian Christians don't view Unitarians as really being a part of the fold. I would say like the Nestorians, Arians, these types of people would not, or Stoicists, they would not fit the standard. So that's what I feel. I do feel there's more of a North Korea kind of situation. I don't know. We don't really know what people exactly feel because they don't have a right to feel. I think we have to have a deep compassion and empathy for the Palestinian people. But I think my problem is the hatred for Israel is wrong as well. But I think Palestinians deserve love, compassion, and mercy, and I deeply care about them. I was in East Jerusalem. I stayed after I did my volunteer trip. I spent a lot of time, and I like these people a lot. It's like feeling I'm like with the family. I really care about these people, but it's because I don't think that the Gazans are really different than the people from the West Bank. They're not. There's difficulties within the community, but and it's difficult. Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of propaganda. I don't deny that there is propaganda. But I think if you really go and connect with people on a human level, I think you can uncover these types of situations. I really think it's more like this is a mysterious group of people that we really don't understand, because even if we look at something like Farfour, these people don't really know what Jews are. They don't know what tefillin is. They don't know what tzitzit. They don't know what what a siddur is. They don't know what Talmud is. They don't actually know what Judaism is, particularly rabbinic Judaism, because that's what's mostly practiced. Not like Karaites. You have the Karaite Jews too, but they don't really, and I don't think they know Christianity either. I don't think they know what the gospel says. I don't think they're educated in these things to know what these things are. They don't really have an in-depth comparative analogy, religious analysis. And it's not their fault. Most people don't. But I'm saying when you're in a multicultural, multi-ethnic place, it would be helpful to know more about this. And I'm not talking about polemics like what we hear from Muhammad Hijab or Ahmed Didat. I'm talking about like legitimate internal understanding of the tradition. Like understanding the gospel through the way that the gospel is interpreted by believers, or how the Torah is interpreted by the believers. I don't think they're trained in this. And that was my understanding when I spent time with a person who was living in Jerusalem. I don't think he really understood these religions. And it's not his fault. Like, religion's tough. Like, I went to school to study religion, academic religion. People just don't know this stuff, Yeah, so...
just Jews and all that. So everybody should help with all full force to oppose this. These two folks here are probably not even ready to announce to us that they actually support Hamas. I actually want to ask the question: do you guys support Hamas? Do you have the guts to say that you support Hamas? Can you call yourselves supporters of Hamas? I invite you to do that if you think that your struggle is actually justified. Hamas is a terrorist organization. It took over the Gazan territory through an election. And I'm not going to say that it was a completely fake election. I am going to actually credit them for the election, because unfortunately the Gazans are not innocent people. Most of them vote for terrorism. Most of them are for the Islamic terrorism. The West Bank is even worse. They are much more for Hamas and for Islamic terrorism. There is a sick Palestinianist problem here. And this problem was not started by Israel.
So I understand what my colleague is saying. I'm more of the optimist here. I do think the election's more of a sham. I take more of that side. I think there was a pluralistic. I think a lot of the Palestinians were deceived because the PA was very corrupt, and Hamas promised them, milk and honey and the sky and the heavens, and I think they deceived the Palestinian people. So even if the elections was legitimate, it was a deception. Hamas deceived them. I think if they knew what Hamas was going to do, I don't think they would have supported them at all. I don't think anyone would have supported them. I think they were just tired of the corruption of the PA. I think they would have gone with the PA if they knew that this is what Hamas was going to do. But I do understand my colleague. I understand where he's coming from. I don't know. It's hard for me to receive that personally. I don't know. I really like Palestinian people, so I can't really take that position the way that he does. But I understand his perspective.
Israel, the Israeli Zionist Jews came into the region to live together, according to all accounts, according to their own greatest thinkers, according to Theodor Herzl, who was the founder of the modern Zionist movement. His aim was to coexist and to live beautifully with the local Arabs and the Muslims. The Arabs did not want it. They had Hitler-like leaders who wanted the Jews dead. In 1948, the Jews said, we can live together in this land. The so-called Palestinians, the Arabs, did not accept it. Since then, they have been fighting and killing and fighting and killing and fighting and killing. And Israel has been left with nothing except to try and build a fence and build walls to defend themselves against this wave of terror. Despite that,
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, I'll take the PA any day. And I kind of promoted them in my opening. I'm like, the PA is actually legitimate with its problems. It looks a lot better. You look at West Bank. It's not perfect, but it is a beautiful place. Gaza doesn't. It's leveled. It's leveled because of what Hamas did. You just do the best you can, and the PA was like, you had Yasser Arafat. I'm not saying he was a perfect dude. He had a lot of flaws. He embezzled a lot of money, but you actually had negotiations going on. Yes, there were tiffs and conflicts, but nothing of this scale. Nothing like this existed with the PA. And I know they're problematic, but I'm like, just in comparison to Hamas, like, boy, the Gazans suffered greatly because of Hamas.
Israel has been stupid, because Israel has been also giving these Palestinians the chances to come into Israel and to work there and to get citizenships. In my opinion, they should have rejected all of that. They should have not let a single person from those territories into the
Yeah, that's definitely hard for me to receive. That's very hard for me to receive. I don't know. I think we should help Palestinians. We should trust Palestinians. I think there is issues, but we're talking about human beings here, and we need to have the human connection and helping support humanity. I think it's a little too nihilistic for me, but yeah. Oh, cool. My great grandmother came from Hungary. Her name was Fanny Cohen. So my great grandmother Fanny Cohen, she married, and it's also at Ellis Island. She was a Hungarian. Fanny Cohen was a Hungarian who married my great grandfather Harry Heimovitz. Sounds like almost like a Marvel hero. Harry Heimovitz is my great grandfather. So my great grandfather Harry Heimovitz married my great grandmother from Hungary, Fanny Cohen, and they came to America. So, that's kind of funny.
The land of Israel. I think they should have a long time ago gotten rid of most of them and kicked them out somewhere and found a place to relocate them. You are dealing with a genocidal terrorist population. Hamas became powerful and popular in the beginning of this century because the Palestinian Authority was led by the PLO, a secularist organization which also initially wanted to eradicate the Jews, but which started making compromises of recognizing Israel and finding a proper solution. And Hamas said, this is treason. We will not allow this. The majority of the Palestinian population agreed with Hamas. This is why Hamas is as active today, because the majority of the Palestinian population supports Islamic terrorists. And then they cry victim. Then they play the victim. Since 2005, Israel has been out of Gaza and gave them a chance to self-govern. What did they do with it? They elected Hamas, and Hamas immediately made the promise to take everything back, every compromise, to never recognize Israel and to continue until the Jews are eradicated and all the land belongs to them. Of course, Israel will not make peace with them. Israel tried. And in my opinion, Israel should never try again because you can't trust these people.
With that, thank you very much. We're going to jump into it. So for the format tonight, we have those rebuttals, and then we're going to jump into the open dialogue. We'll have closings, which will be short. It'll only be 5 minutes, and then we'll have your Q&A. So if you happen to have questions for the Q&A, the way it works is fire them into the old live chat. You can tag me with @ModernDayDebate. Or if you'd like to make a comment instead of a question per se, If you use Super Chat, that gives you the option to do that, and it pushes your question or comment to the top of the list. With that, we're going to jump into the open dialogue. Gentlemen, the floor is all yours.
All right,
So
look.
I want to say sorry to Issa because I took most of his time. So Issa, you can take over much of this and talk. I just asked the two pro-Hamas terrorists not to bully my friend Issa.
Look.
So I really love care about AP. Look how sweet and kind he is to me. He's a great teammate, and I really support him and I foster him. And I understand what he was saying. It is hard for me to receive what he said at the end, but I understand the perspective. I don't know. I believe in the betterness for the causes of the Palestinian people. I don't know. I do. There's something in my heart that has a place for that, but I also realize the terror of Hamas, and I think the Palestinian people are victims of Hamas. That's my position. But I think that's just the thing. My position is I take a kind of very empathetic, compassionate, humanist position. So, yes, this is the debate with this.
Look, Apis, I'm sorry for destroying your whole debate right now, but we'll
go to the hour
point. One man who was a former interior minister, a political figure who does not speak for me or anyone, or anyone in Palestine.
He's a current speaker for Hamas.
He is not the head of Hamas. He's not a military commander. He's not an elected leader.
I said he's the current speaker for Hamas.
Dude, just because someone... Okay, let's look at Israeli spokespersons who have called Palestinians human animals. They call me subhuman. They call me poison.
So my problem is he's not engaging what Fatih Hamad said. He's not dealing with Hamza Shakil, and instead he's kind of deflecting and saying, what did the Israeli person do? We can engage what the Israeli person said, engage what this man said, talking about blowing up vests and stuff. You've got to tell the truth. Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. Yeah, we're really good buddies. I actually go to a Turkish school now too. So it's funny. I've learned a little Turkish. Nasılsın? Esselamualeyküm. Lütfen. Jokasa. I did learn a bit of Turkish because like all my colleagues are Turkish. So, yeah, actually Turkish people are very nice and sweet. Like at least the community that I'm with, the Hizmet community, they're very wonderful people. But I definitely think historically, I think people painted the Ottoman Empire as this beautiful thing, and it has a lot of problems. There's definitely a lot of... I grew up actually watching this documentary from the PBS, The Rise of Islam, and it was about the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottoman Empire did some pretty bad stuff, like, especially to its own lineage, like its own empire, like the own royalty. Like if I was an Ottoman royal, I would like want to live out in a forest. I would get off grid, like those like preppers. I would get off grid if I was an Ottoman royal, because they would probably try to kill me because they would want to take the power. So I'd be like, yeah, let me live off grid because I don't want to have anything to do with this. You can have the kingdom. I want to have my life. I'll have my life. You can have the kingdom. They also had janissaries. So janissaries are important. Brainwashing stuff. I don't know. I think maybe some people do, and I think some people don't. I think we have to look at people as individuals, because there are videos of people in Gaza like, dude, I can't stand Hamas, and I'd rather be with Israel than Hamas. Like there are videos of that. They said, but if I say that, my life is forfeit, And there are people, it's become so extreme. They're like, dude, I want to go with Israel over Hamas. Hamas has put us in this. And they did set this up. They can't just blame Israel. Like, it's like when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. I don't agree with what America did. I don't believe in firebombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki and dropping nuclear weapons. I'm a pacifist, so I'm against war. But with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that was a retaliation against Pearl Harbor. This is what happens. If a smaller government does an attack against another government, there's a retaliation. That is what occurs. So it's like, I'm anti-violence and anti-killing, so I don't want this to happen, but this will happen. So we have to mitigate what we can do, you know? Yeah, I know. Like, I've been around a lot of Chinese people. The government, there's a lot of problems, you know? Yeah, the people groups can be very difficult. Like, I think about my favorite country of all time. We're going to watch a movie about my favorite country. I actually want to do videos about my favorite country. My favorite country of all time is Pakistan. I love Pakistan. So, Pakistan. It's my dil, it's my zindagi, Pakistan. Oh my God, Pakistan, my Lord. The Desi Muslim community of Pakistan, Lord have mercy. Oh my God, I'm sure you've seen videos from I want to be pilot. I want to be a pilot and go against India. I'm like, our ancestors are from there. We're actually Indian Muslims, but you know. Oh my God, because I'm a Desi. Of course I'm going to love about Pakistan. Pakistan is such a wild country. There's so much about it. So the guy who actually made Pakistan was a secular Muslim. He was an Ismaili, which are very, very progressive Muslims. He drank, he smoked, and his wife was a Zoroastrian. We have this ethnicity in South Asia called Parsi. A Parsi is like a Zoroastrian, and it's like they kind of hide Pakistan's ancestry. He's called Qadi Azam. They try to hide his ancestry because it's like his story because he married a Zoroastrian woman and his kids are Zoroastrian. So like, oh my gosh. Oh Lord, there's so much about Pakistan. Pakistan is just, it is a spectacular place. They have a movie called Durandar about India and Pakistan, you know. Pakistan is just, it's a magical place in my heart. There's so much to talk about it. There's so much to talk about Pakistan, you know. But like the deposition, the removal of the Democratic leader, Imran Khan, like there's just so many things about Pakistan, you know. But like they have this thing called a blasphemy law. And this is the thing. So South Asians are really into social mobility. So South Asians were they're trying to be whatever gets them to the top tier. So the South Asians that come to America want to be Europeans. They want to become Caucasian people. So they try very, very hard to be people of European ancestry, right? And then the Pakistani people want to be Arabs. Like, look at this Pakistan. I can show you pictures of Pakistanis that are dressed in Arab clothing. They have they call it a zabiba. They have this big circle on their head, and then they dye their beard red and they shave their mustache. And then you hear them talk. Oh God, oh my Lord, Allah Hafiz. Oh God, what did he? They sound like that, and you're like, wait, you're not an Arab, you're a South Asian. You're a South Asian. Oh my gosh, you're a South Asian. So, oh my gosh, South Asia. I should write a PhD thesis on South Asian Muslims in general. The South Asian community. Oh, there's so much to talk about. I can gush and gush about South Asian people. Yeah, it's Indian Muslims LARPing us. They're cosplaying as Arabs. South Asian Muslims are cosplaying as Arabs, and it's so bad. We're gonna watch my Pakistani movie. I think that's the next thing we have to do. It's called International Gurilai. It is spectacular, and we have to see it because my love of Pakistan has to be shown in this streaming. And nobody has seen this terrible, horrible movie, but it must be seen, and this audience is gonna see it. But we're not gonna watch the whole thing because it's 3 hours like every Bollywood movie, so that's too much. We're gonna break it up in like half-an-hour segments. But it's so bad, it's so hilarious, and it's magical. So after this debate, we're gonna see it. Oh my God, these people have no idea what Jews are. They get upset about people drinking alcohol. Right in the beginning of this movie that we're gonna watch, they pop the beers. And they're like, they have a bunch of popping wines and beers, and they're like, we want to destroy all the good Muslims and bring them in that we're drinking khamar and we're trying to bring them into shar. We're bringing them into evil. So, oh my God, it's wonderful. We have to see. Let's see. Yeah, that is rough. Oh, it's terrible. There's an interview with Vina Malik where the cleric, where she's like, you know, Vina Malik has some cleavage showing. Like, who cares that there's some cleavage? Like, it's not a big deal, right? Malik is there, and she's like, and they're like, why are you showing your chest? What is happening here? What are you doing? And then she's like, what are you talking about? You see, there are women struggling. They are throwing acid at women's faces. What are you going to do about that? What are you saying about that? And he's like, sister, you need to cover up. You need to cover your face. You too much are showing. Too much are showing. She's like, what are you? How dare you talk to me about the cleavage? You need to talk about all the terrible things that this clergy is doing. You are bad, badmash, bad guy. You are the bad guy. Oh my God. It's magical. We might watch that interview. Maybe after this we could show the Vina Malik interview because it's spectacular. Oh my God. Vina Malik is amazing. I have not seen that. Oh, see a wonder in the next one. Okay, I'll show that out.
Cancer.
Who said that?
Bro, a sitting Israeli minister right now literally suggested dropping a nuclear bomb on Gaza.
Who said that?
Ben-Gvir.
Was he appointed as a spokesperson
One
for
second.
Israeli policy and military?
These are government decision makers in Israel whose
That's
words
not
are
what I
followed
asked.
by policy.
That's not
Okay,
what I asked.
so if rhetoric determines morality,
is he responsible
if
for any
rhetoric-
military action?
if
Is he appointed
rhetoric-
as a spokesperson? No.
if rhetoric determines morality, Israel lost that argument 10 times over. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you the question again. The person who
subhumans.
said that, was he appointed as a speaker for Israeli policies? Does he have any power over Israeli military
Do
decisions?
you understand that Israel's
Answer my
government-
question, man.
Israel's government ministers openly call for genocide. Israel's government ministers.
Ministers who
follow through with
ministers who have nothing to do, who have no authority
One
at all
man's
in military
speech.
actions.
One man's speech cannot justify mass murder, ethnic
Yes,
cleansing, or
it actually can. So
No, it
one
can't.
man speaks on behalf of
No, it
Hamas
can't.
because he's appointed by Hamas
He
as their
was-
official
He was
spokesperson.
immediately condemned.
No, he wasn't.
immediately-
No, he
Yes,
wasn't.
was.
The only
Internally
time
and
he was
externally.
condemned, the only time he was condemned was when he said that that people should go around and kill Jews everywhere in the world. Where Hamas said, "Okay, we don't actually want to do that." In fact, when he said that West Bank people should pick up knives and kill a Jew, Hamas didn't say anything about it. They kept him as their spokesperson.
No matter
So Hamas spokesperson says our goal is to eradicate the Jews, and that is okay.
Look.
An Israeli spokesperson has never ever said any such thing.
no matter what one Hamas official said, Israel has done far worse in action. They killed more civilians. They bombed hospitals and schools. They stole land. They imposed siege and famine.
When did they
blocked
steal
aid.
land?
They violated. Come on, man. Israel is built on stolen land.
Which land are you referring to? Which land is stolen?
Occupied Palestine.
Which part of it? Which part of it is occupied?
Look, Israel massacres.
Okay, I actually want to show this Vina Malik clip, and then we'll finish this. Sonics, you're hilarious. No, because Jvnior instigated. That's what he was doing. But I want you to look at this because I want to show my country that I love. The Pakistan, a great country. Look at this. Pakistani actress Vina Malik, participant in Big Boss, the Indian version of the Big Brother. This is 2011. Let's see this beautiful cleric.
आप पर इल्जाम है पाकिस्तान
आप पर
की
इल्जाम है
आवाम की
पाकिस्तान।
गवर्नमेंट जो है वो समझती है कि आपने
कि आपने-
हिंदुस्तान जाकर पाकिस्तान के कल्चर की धज्जियां बखेर दी, जो ड्रेसेस आपने पहने, जो एक्शंस आपने किए, जो आपकी जिस तरह की इंटरेक्शन थी वहां पे वहां के लोगों के साथ,
Introduction पर ये
वो पाकिस्तान की नजरियाती असास, यहाँ के कल्चर, यहाँ के लोगों की तर्जमानी नहीं करती। पाकिस्तान के सफीर के तौर पे अगर ये इल्जाम सही है, आपको शर्मिंदगी है या आपके इल्जाम ही गलत है?
देखिए, इन इल्जामात की कोई बेस ही नहीं है, क्योंकि
ये बेस
बिग बॉस जो शो है उसका फॉर्मेट इस तरह का है कि पूरी दुनिया से, सिर्फ पाकिस्तान से
दुनिया।
नहीं, हॉलीवुड से सेलिब्रिटीज भी उस शो में गई थी उस शो का फॉर्मेट ही ऐसा है कि ना ही वो कोई कल्चरल वैरायटी शो है जहाँ पे किसी के कल्चर को प्रमोट किया जाता है, और ना ही वो कोई मजहबी शो है जहाँ पे किसी को अपने मजहब को प्रमोट करने की इजाजत दी जाती है, क्योंकि जितनी भी आप मजहबी किताबें साथ लेकर जाते हैं आपको इजाजत नहीं होती कि आप अंदर लेकर के जाएं।
फिर मेरा बुनियादी सवाल आपसे यही है कि क्या आपको लगता है बीइंग पाकिस्तानी के वीना मलिक साहिबा ने अपनी हरकत से वहां पर जाके पाकिस्तान की तजलील की?
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। सबसे पहले
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम, look at this guy,
तो मैं अपनी बहन को पाकिस्तान आमद
look at her eyes, he's like, I do not want to deal with this crap right now.
पर खुशामदीद कहता हूँ, और यकीनन जो उन्होंने बातें की हैं उससे मेरा दिल भी दुखा है, और उन तमाम पाकिस्तानियों का दिल
My heart is filled, my dil is filled with sadness that she has returned to Pakistan with her cleavage showing.
दुखा है जो ये समझते हैं कि वीना मलिक साहबा जो है वो पाकिस्तान के उन लोगों में है जिनकी शोहरत पाकिस्तान की वजह से है। मैं ये समझता हूँ कि वो एक तरफ तो दो कौमी नजरिए की नफी कर रही थी, और दूसरा उन मसमूम नजरियात को फरोग दे रही थी जो इस जैसे मारूफ और इस जैसे अजीम आदमी।
Look how passive aggressive this dude is. He's like, she's challenging these things that I think are fair to be challenged, and they're like, it's in my great heart, my heart of sadness, that she's such this great woman. You're such a great woman. This is beneath you to talk about the two-state, the problem of the two-state situation, that this was not a good thing.
देखिए, ज़मीर पे बोझ तब मैं फील करूं जब मैंने कुछ गलत किया हो। मैंने कुछ गलत नहीं किया। आई एम जस्ट एन एंटरटेनर। और मैं इस मुल्क में रहते हुए कोई शख्स खड़ा होके कहे कि मैंने किसी कानून के खिलाफ जाकर के कोई चीज की, चाहे वो इस्लामी हो चाहे वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हो,
मुफ्ती साहब
मुझे सजा दे सकते हैं।
अगर ये समझती है कि जो कुछ इन्होंने इकदाम।
Look at this. Look, now the anger comes out. The passive aggressive shield, the veneer comes off, the persona comes off, and then all of a sudden the real nasty thing comes out.
इनका ज़मीर जो है इनको उसके ऊपर मलामत नहीं कर रहा, तो मैं बड़े दर्द दिल के साथ कहूंगा कि खुदारा फिर अपने ज़मीर को जिंदा की।
I love how she just like is brushing her hair. She's like, I'm done with this dude. This dude is FOS.
ये आपकी तस्वीर वो है कि कोई पाकिस्तानी भी अपनी बेटी के साथ बैठ के इनकी तस्वीर को नहीं देख सकता। अल्लाह तबारक व तआला इन्हें भी साहिब है, और मैं यकीनन समझता हूँ कि इनका बेटा जो होगा वो इनकी मौजूदगी में अपनी वालिदा की कैफियत को नहीं देख सकेगा। ये अपने वालिद के साथ बैठ के
जी
मुफ्ती साहब, सबसे पहले आपके तमाम सवालों के जवाब मैं आपको यहाँ पर देती हूँ कि जहाँ पर दीन इस्लाम की बात आती है तो इस्लाम बहुत वसी मजहब है। इस्लाम।
Do you see that he looks exactly what I just told you? He has the shaved mustache. It's complete. He's a complete LARPer. My man is an Arab LARPer.
ये है कि मैं अकेली अपने वाहिद कफील हूँ अपने घर की, जिसने 5 बहनों और 1 भाई को पढ़ाया है। इसके अलावा मैं आपको बताऊं कि अगर आप इस्लाम की बात करते हैं तो आप मुझे इस वक्त इस हालत में देख भी नहीं सकते। आपको सरेआम सजा मिलनी चाहिए, क्योंकि चैरिटी बिगन्स एट होम। अच्छाई अपने घर से शुरू करते हैं। और वो तमाम मौलवी हजरात जो एक नजर किसी औरत पर डाल सकते हैं, मगर जब दूसरी नजर डालते हैं तो वो काबिल सजा होते हैं। आपको सजा मिलनी चाहिए। आप मुझे इस हालत में देख भी नहीं सकते हैं। दूसरी बात यह है कि अगर आपको इस्लाम का बोलबाला करना है तो बहुत कुछ है। सियासतदान क्या करते हैं? रिश्वत, डाके, चोरियां।
Dang man, Veena is tearing this dude up.
इस्लाम के नाम पे कत्लो गारत, बहुत कुछ है जिसके ऊपर बात की जा सकती है। सिर्फ वीना मलिक क्यों? क्योंकि वीना मलिक एक लड़की है। वीना मलिक क्यों? क्योंकि वीना मलिक सॉफ्ट टारगेट है आपके लिए। और वीना मलिक ने क्या है? वीना मलिक ने क्या लिप लॉक किया है? वीना मलिक ने क्या इतने छोटे कपड़े पहने जिससे पहले आज तक आपकी पाकिस्तानी एक्ट्रेसेस ने इंडिया में पहने नहीं है? वाई वीना मलिक? मुफ्ती साहब जाइए, और बहुत कुछ है। वो मौलवी हजरात जो अपनी मस्जिदों में उन्हीं बच्चों का रेप करते हैं जिनको वो पढ़ाते हैं, एंड सो मच मोर। पाकिस्तान और वजह से बदनाम है, वीना मलिक की वजह से बदनाम नहीं है। वीना मलिक एक एंटरटेनमेंट है, और आप यकीन कीजिए कि मैंने 10,000 इतनी अच्छी चीजें की है जिसमें मुझे मेरे लोगों ने सपोर्ट नहीं किया है।
She's like a normal person. She's a normal person. Oh my God.
आपने ये अदालत लगाई है तो मैं आपसे ये सवाल चाहती हूँ कि अदालत इंसाफ देती है। मेरे पास आप लोग मुझसे नाराज हैं, मैं आपसे ज्यादा नाराज हूँ। आज अगर मैं अपनी बातों का जवाब दूंगी तो आपको भी मेरी बातों का जवाब देना पड़ेगा। एंड मुफ्ती साहब, बहुत सारी चीजें जो आपकी कम्युनिटी के अंदर ठीक होने वाली है और वो आप ठीक कीजिए। वीना मलिक बहुत बाद में आती है, एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री बहुत बाद में आती है।
राइट। मोहतरमा वीना मलिक साहबा, मैंने आपको पहले भी ये बात कही है कि आप मेरी बहन है, जज्बाती होने की जरूरत नहीं।
Dang, look how passive aggressive Mufti Sahab is, man.
है, हर आदमी का अपना किरदार है।
साहब, मुझे वो लफ्ज भी आपको याद है जब आपने एक औरत को बेगैरत कहा था। अगर आप रसूल पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का इस्लाम फैला रहे तो रसूल पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम जब कोई औरत आती थी तो उसके एहतराम में खड़े हो जाते थे, उसको बेगैरत नहीं कहते थे। आप अपने घर से शुरू कीजिए चीजें, बाद में मुझसे आइए। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं मुसलमान हूँ और मैंने बहुत सारी अच्छी चीजें दिखी है और वो आपको सुननी पड़ेगी।
अदा किया है।
मुफ्ती साहब आपके साथ क्या कहता है? लोगों की बात सुन के लोगों को बातें करते हैं, लोगों की बात सुन के आप अपने इस्लाम की बात करते हैं। अरे एक लड़की को आपने खड़े होकर के देखा ही नहीं कि वो लड़की क्या करती है और क्या नहीं करती और आपने खड़े होकर के बातें करते हैं। आपका इस्लाम, आपका दीन क्या कहता है? आप क्या कहते हैं? आपने देखा मुझे
मेरा दीन ये कहता है कि
कोई एक तस्वीर उठा कर देखा जिससे मैंने ऐसी हरकत की हो जो आज होता है? एक तस्वीर।
मेरी बात सुने मोहतरमा वीना मलिक साहब, मैं आपको बड़ी जुर्रत से ये बात बता दूं कि मैंने नहीं देखा, लेकिन पाकिस्तान के उन करोड़ों लोगों ने जिन्होंने आपके इन कैफियत को देखा है, उनमें से 100% की राय।
You have disgraced the Pakistan and Islam. Oh my God!
आपने पाकिस्तानियत की भी तौहीन की है, इस्लाम की भी तौहीन की है।
आप गलत कह रहे हैं मुफ्ती साहब, आप ठीक नहीं कह रहे हैं। आप प्लीज
किरदार को
पैमेला एंडरसन जो हॉलीवुड की इतनी बड़ी स्टार है, जो वो शो से निकलती है और उससे सलमान खान पूछते हैं कि किस एक इंसान से आप राब्ता रखेंगी, तो उसने कहा क्योंकि वीना मलिक पाकिस्तान के लिए बहुत सोशल वर्क करती है और मैं फ्यूचर में आके पाकिस्तान में सोशल वर्क करना चाहती हूँ। तो मुझे बताइए कितने प्रोग्राम्स किए आपने मेरे ऊपर? जब प्रोग्राम के शुरू में श्वेता ने मेरी जात के ऊपर 2 मरतबा कीचड़ उछाला, बहुत गंदी जबान इस्तेमाल की, मेरे लोग कहाँ थे? मीडिया कहाँ था? जब राहुल ने मुझे सिर्फ इसलिए नॉमिनेट किया कि मैं एक पाकिस्तानी हूं, मेरे लोग कहाँ थे? मेरा मीडिया कहाँ था? हाँ, जब मनोज तिवारी बैठ के मुझे बीच पहली गंदी गाली दे रहे हैं, मेरे लोग कहाँ थे? मेरा मीडिया कहाँ था? आपने मेरे शॉर्ट्स देखे, आपने ये नहीं देखा कि मैंने उस घर में हर एक शख्स को कितना प्यार दिया? आप पहले दिन से लेकर आखिर तक देखिए, मैंने हर घर में उस हर इंसान की को प्यार दिया, सिर्फ इसलिए ये बताने के लिए कि जरूरी नहीं है पाकिस्तानी वो पाकिस्तान को रिप्रेजेंट नहीं करते कि जहां पे कोई टेरर अटैक्स होते हैं और उनका पासपोर्ट पाकिस्तानी निकलता है। पाकिस्तानी हम जैसे भी होते हैं जो एंटरटेनमेंट को, मजाक मस्ती को और प्यार को पसंद करते हैं।
That's heavy. That was heavy. Yep. Yeah, Papa Smurf was having a field day. See, this is why I love Pakistan. We're going to watch a Pakistani movie and we're going to learn more about my favorite country of all time. The greatest country of all the countries. You know, I talk about Israel, that I like Israel. I love Israel. No, Pakistan is the greatest. It's the computer country. It's so good. Oh my God, I love Pakistan. It's my deal. My sin. Oh my God, Pakistan. Oh, I could talk about Pakistan all day long. All right, let us get through this, and we'll finish this up.
And then Hamas comments. This is what you're complaining about.
Which part is occupied? Tell me which
There's
part is
no
occupied.
comparison, Apis. There's no comparison.
Which part is occupied? Can you tell me that?
The whole land, Al-Ard al-Muqaddasa, which is mentioned in the Quran. Who does it belong to?
So you believe
Who does it belong to?
you believe that Israel has no right to a single ounce of the land. You believe any part of
Not after what it did. I'm sorry. You have to go to court first and win that land back.
Oh, really?
In front of God, you have lost your right to that land.
In 1948, when
Jews
the land
reject you.
The land was split between the Jews and the Arabs. Do you think the Jews actually hold some of the land and rule it?
Why are you grouping all Jews with Israel right now?
Can you just answer my question? This has nothing to do with the
millions of
question.
Jews that hate Israel, that hate this argument.
Actually, the vast majority of Jews support Zionism. So the question here is again,
So why are Jews protesting against Israel?
you mean a few Jews? There are
No,
also Muslims
Orthodox
protesting
Jews. Every single Orthodox Jew that abides by the Torah has to go against Israel because
Dude,
there's
you
no
have
such
no
thing.
idea what you're talking about. The majority
There's
of
no
Orthodox
such
Jews,
thing
the majority
as
of
a God.
Orthodox Jews support Israel.
No, they don't, because
Yes,
God's
they do.
promise, God's
Okay, I think we'll allow this sentence to finish.
promised nation to the Jews that is not built on genocide, is not built on killing children, and that's what Israel's reputation is today. Maybe if you guys go to Argentina or South Africa, maybe you can get another chance there, but your chance
Oh yeah, that's also a good thing. Good thing.
All right, we can stop right there. Oh, he actually. I saw it before, but he did it when we were doing the debate. I remember seeing him do a Sieg Heil, and I was like, "Oh boy, this is rough." Yeah. So wild. So, what are your feelings about this? Dang, that's rough. This was a rough one. Yeah. Kind of a wild story, but thank you for coming. We're going to probably, I think after this, we're going to watch International Gorilla. After this debate, we've got to see it because we got to show Pakistan the lovely, the beautiful, the wonderful Pakistan, greatest country of all time. But yeah. If you have any questions, if you have anything, and sure, yeah, you need to see the next debate with me and Jvnior. We have a little bit of Jvnior and I have a clash in this debate because I take a very strong position that the Bible is not corrupted. He thinks the Bible is corrupted. So, yeah. Yeah, this is wild when it gets there. What was the thing I wanted to show? Right. This is our Discord. If you have not joined, join our Discord. We just love to have folks come in. Yeah, be a part of our community. Yes, we're going to have another stream today. We do 2 streams a day. I just have to figure out what time. But once I get my social work stuff. What's the question? How would your religion even work if the Bible were corrupt? This is a perfect. Sonic is bringing up a very important point. Islam can't work if the Bible is corrupted. Yes, there might be things that appear to contradict. You have to reconcile them. You have to do that. That is you're forced into that. Dr. Wood said it is the only way. Yes, there's difficult things. You know, Christ being divine is a very difficult thing for Muslims who take this very kind of strict monotheistic position, but you have to work with that. And I would say maybe a Sufi interpretation is the best way. You have people like Mansur Halaj, where you have divine consciousness. You have to take a route like that. Yeah, it's the only way. You're sweet. Yeah, we're gonna have a great time in our next stream. We're working on this. Whew. I have to fact check a lot of stuff that Jvnior is saying. It's rough. It's rough because he just basically says whatever he feels without actually having data for it. There are some accurate points. Like, has Israel done some crimes? Yes, that's true. So has the United States. But we have to contextualize that as being issues within nation states. We have to deal with all of these types of situations, and that's not it. Do you need help with the Discord? Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let me copy this, and I'll put it in the chat, and I think that might make it easier. There we go. Is that better? Just put that in your hyperlink, and that's how you can join us. because that's where we have chats there. We can voice chat when we're offline, building our community here. A little bit different than what we might see on Dr. Wood's show, but I think we all have a different flavor, we have a different masala that we bring to this to the stew. So yeah, hope you had a lot of fun with us today. Okay, we are going to end the stream.